Nürburgring, it's the Eiffel Mountains. It's a brilliant battle to come in the Clio Cup Series for the two races this weekend. We have had some thrills and spills already in the 2023 campaign, but now we gear ourselves up for more exciting action here. Jake Sanson in the commentary box, and my goodness me, are you in for some thrills and spills in this fabulous field of 36 cars to do battle around the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. 23 degrees track temperature, reasonably high humidity. There has been some rain in and around the day, but so far for race one, it looks bone dry and sunny. And for Gabriele Torelli, who did a fantastic job in Q1 to put the Rangoni Corsa number 12 into pole position alongside Alexandra Finkelstein in the number 29 GBA car, it's looking absolutely blissful to go and have a stunning day at the races. It really will be fascinating entertainment for the competitors who know exactly what to expect from this circuit now. They've had all sorts of difficulties in terms of dealing with mixed conditions out there on the course. They certainly had a lot to deal with last night in the qualifying session, which was plagued by a rain shower. But it was Gabriele Torelli who took full advantage of it to put his car into first position. Alex Finkelstein, as I mentioned, in second place on the grid. Adrian Schimpf is going to be in third position for the AST competition squad. And then David Pouget in the GPA number 15 will be there on the second row of the grid. Alongside Jerzy Spinkovic is going to be Andrea Stucci, and then Thomas Pekar and Nicolas Melan, Mr. Clio Cup, in 8th position on the starting grid. Didn't get the best of it from the course of the racing in yesterday's qualifying session, but will definitely be fighting back. Eat my cheese, says Gabriele Torelli. He's clearly been watching Alan Partridge. Rangoni Corsa number 12 will start up from the front of the starting grid then, as he will go to the first corner alongside Alex Finkelstein. But he looks pretty neat and tidy off the starting grid these days, so hopefully he'll be in a very strong position to continue his incredible charge forward. So Gabriele Torelli, Alex Finkelstein and Adrian Schimpf will be together on the first three positions of the grid. Further back behind Nicolas Melan, you're going to see Jacopo Giuseppe Ximenes in the Essa Corsa car in 9th position on the grid. And then Nikola Milkovic will be in the Tempo Racing number 211. You've got to go all the way back to 11th position to find Anthony Girardo in the Milan competition car. 11th on the grid on the 6th row, alongside Alejandro Schimpf in the AST competition squad car. And then Christian Ricciarini in the Essa Corsa and the JSP competition car of Aurélien Régnier. There is Thomas Pekar, lining up on the grid, the young man from the Czech Republic, getting himself ready for a charge forward. So it'll be fascinating to see what he can do as he continues to battle away in position. So the drivers preparing for a very different battle from Clio Cup Series Race 1 compared to what they saw earlier on today. Of course, it was qualifying 2 that sets the grid for race 1 and qualifying 1 that sets the grid for race 2. So Torelli, Finkelstein and Schimpf, and then Thomas Pekar in 4th position on the starting grid. And then David Pouget and Anthony Girardo on the 3rd row. Watch out for the number 6, Super Mario himself, Mario Cool, who actually has the film star, I was going to say video game character, but he's a film star these days, isn't he? In the middle of the pack, there is Anthony Girardo, P6 on the starting grid, ready for an exciting battle ahead. So he's going to have an interesting charge forward as he continues to make the battles come to him. But Torelli, Finkelstein, Schimpf and Pekar. Of course, the battle for the qualifying positions for this race was done this morning. So very different track conditions to what set the grid for tomorrow's second race. That was done last night. And that will definitely make things very intriguing to see who does what. But once again, towards the sharp end is Jerzy Spinkovic, the Polish driver, who has become the first ever Clio Cup Middle East champion. And now here he is, continuing his battle in Europe. You do get the sense with Jerzy Spinkovic, it's not going to be long until he gets that elusive first victory. He is always there or thereabouts. He has a really strong chance of making it go his way. So expect something special from him every time he comes to play from here on out, because he obviously wants to be in a strong position and to compete for the victory every time. So the 3 fingers that come up there for Nikola Milkovic as he continues to battle for supremacy. 8th position on the starting grid. I'm not quite sure what 3 relates to. He does, and I'm sure that'll be code for his nearest and dearest. But Nikola Mirkovic starting on the 4th row of the starting grid here in the Clio Cup Series, and he wants to obviously make sure that he gets the charge to the first position. Yes, we know it's 3. What's 3? You haven't really made much of a statement about that one. I had looked on his social media, and he hasn't made anything particularly clear. I'm sure that will all come out of the wash later on in the week, though. Ironic that the windshield that is keeping ST competition car Adrian Schimpf's car cool is actually the eyes of Lightning McQueen there, I notice. Super Mario's on the grid, so is Lightning McQueen. What's going on? Andreas Stucki in the Swiss run number 9 of Stucki Motorsport, the family team, running there on the 5th row of the starting grid. So he's going to be charging his way further forward off the line to make his way through into the first corner. And of course, with all of the 31 cars gearing up ready for a very exciting start here, it's going to be an intriguing challenge for all of the drivers. But can anybody beat this man when he's on song? He is a tough man to beat, and he's always ultra competitive. Nicolas Milan did actually a tougher job in qualifying in the dry than he did in the wet last night. But Nicolas Milan, who is Mr. Clio Cup Series, has pretty much won everything there is to win. But he still gets motivated, he still wants to push his way further forward, and he will still compete for every last ounce of laps out there on the course. He wants to win every time he comes to play, as does every driver, of course. But Nicolas Milan always seems to find a way to do it. Was I incorrect? It's not the eyes of Lightning McQueen. I think it might be the eyes of SpongeBob SquarePants. Clearly, I don't know enough about these children's things, do I? So 11th on the starting grid, Aurélien René, hoping to charge his way up into the top 6 as the race continues to progress. There he is in the number 24 car. Solid performances so far over the course of these first few outings. But René obviously wanting to continue his good start to the season and keep the crew smiling and happy going into the evening. This is, of course, the last event of the Saturday race weekend. The Clio Cup Series, not for the first time this year, sharing the bill with the Fanatec GT World Challenge. And they'll be there, of course, later through the year as well. But good to see their battles are going to be raging. For Gabriele Torelli, he has a real advantage here to stretch out his advantage over his compatriots out there on the course. There is Ricciarini, who is going to be starting from 12th position on the starting grid in the Esse Corsa number 107. So the Momo colours, resplendent as they are in many forms of racing car, they look just as good on a Clio as they do on anything else. So it'll be fascinating to see how Ricciarini copes in the first lap. This is about the point on the course when you start to get the panel beating fodder. This is obviously very commonplace on the first lap of a race when you've got 32 drivers banzaiing and badinaging their way through the first lap of the race. So you obviously want to be in a good position. Hello, Cheeky. That's the 199. That is Alejandro Schimpf getting himself ready for the start. So clearly, Adrian Schimpf clearly likes the eyes of SpongeBob SquarePants. Alejandro likes Lightning McQueen. So I was half right. But as long as it keeps the car cool, it doesn't matter too much at all, does it? It'll be interesting to see what the two Spanish boys can do as they try to make their way up the ranks. And obviously they're going to have quite a lot of pressure on them to get the start to the maximum that they can achieve over the course of the race as the doors are starting to close. But as I said before, keep an eye in the middle of the field for the number 6. Super Mario himself, Mario Cool, is actually carrying his nomenclature video game character on the side of his car. I'm not sure if he's got the rights to do that, but he's certainly very happy and proud to carry his namesake on the car. But Gabriele Torelli is going to be in the best possible position off the start here, alongside Alexander Finkelstein, to try and charge their way through to the first corner. Finkelstein obviously with a brilliant opportunity here from second on the grid for both today and tomorrow. He knows what's at stake. He knows how tough it's going to be. So he obviously wants to give himself the best possible opportunity of having a solid run. Track temperature coming into this one, 23.5 degrees Celsius. This will definitely be tough for those thin tyres as the competitors are getting away from the starting grid. Here we go. The Michelins will be warming up to temperature and getting us ready for an exciting race battle here at the Nürburgring. So as the drivers go around then on their formation lap, ready for the start, it's going to be fascinating to see how the drivers will gear up for an exciting duel around the course. And it gets very busy at the best of times here in this category. So let's see how it all plays out on the formation lap. So all of the competitors hoping for a solid start. Let's talk you through the grid. Gabriele Torelli alongside Alexander Finkelstein on the front row of the grid for Rangoni and GPA. Then Adrian Schimpf is alongside Thomas Pekar, AST Competition versus Carpeg Racing. David Pouget, fifth on the grid alongside the Milan competition car of Anthony Girardo. Jacek Spinkovic alongside Nikola Milkovic. And then we have Andreas Stucki alongside Nicolas Melan, second in class, 10th overall. Then it's Aurélien René, who will line up alongside Christian Ricciarini in the Essi Corsa car, who is second in the Italian category. Then it is Alejandro Schimpf, who is alongside Jacopo Giuseppe Jimenez. And then we have Jeremy Bordagere alongside Mariano Alonso on the 8th row of the grid. Thomas Compagne is alongside Fabian Julia. And then Florian Venturi will start beside Damiano Puccetti. Lionel Viguet alongside Guillaume Mayo. And then we have Stefan Polderman, who will go along the grid alongside his teammate, René Steenmetz. Then it is Laurent Ziodus alongside Super Mario Martin Kuhl. And then Daniel Niffelaer will be alongside Henrik Scheibel. Then 29th and 30th on the grid, Rafael Cuadrado and then Matthias Dahl. Then we have Sebastian Gehin alongside Samuel Chaligne. Vinish Schunker joins the fray alongside Michel Fay. And at the back of the grid, it'll be Gabriel Alonso alongside Udo Brenner. 18 rows of the grid, 36 Clios battling their way around the course in fantastic fashion. We're definitely going to get to see the best of them as they run together. There are a couple of drivers missing, I notice, from the grid. So we don't seem to have Udo Brenner lined up in position on the grid. Oh yes, we do, my apologies. So Udo Brenner is there in 36th position on the grid. I didn't see his car come around, but then I did see it popped up at the back there. As the number 9, Andreas Stucki, is hoping for a solid charge to the first corner. Now don't forget, of course, that these cars are standing start in the Clio Cup Series. So the drivers will make their way back to the starting grid once again. And then when the lights go out, we will charge to the first corner. And then all heck could break loose, because it's going to be a very interesting battle for the Clio Cup Series drivers as they run to position. 36 drivers all charging for turn 1 with not a lot of room for negotiation on the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. 3.199 miles, of course. Plenty of great overtaking opportunities in a Clio, but then in these cars, which are very narrow and very short, you've got the potential to run 3 or 4 wide on some parts of the course, and I have a feeling that these drivers are going to challenge that theory. So the competition is raring to go, and all of the competitors gearing up ready for the excitement here at the Nürburgring. It's definitely going to be an exciting race from here on out, as all of the drivers know just how tricky it's going to be from here. But now it's time to gear up for the race start. All the drivers will make their way back to the starting grid as per, and we can go racing. Gabriele Torelli and Alexander Finkelstein starting from the front row of the starting grid here at the Nürburgring in the first of the 2 races in the Clio Cup Series at the Nürburgring 2023. A great race ahead of us. Adrian Schimpf and Thomas Pekar are obviously going to give us plenty of excitement as well. So now it's time to see how this brilliant race is going to play out. For Gabriele Torelli, he's hoping that it's as easy pickings as possible. He certainly doesn't want to have to worry too much about how the race will play out and how it will continue to develop in terms of the title fight. But we're definitely in for an exciting showcase around the course as everybody now into position. So Martin Kuhl is putting his Super Mario car into position. And now the final preparations for this race start underway as everybody wants to finish this off in a good fashion. They're the last cars coming into position on the grid. And so we are set for the challenge in front of us. We are set to go racing here. And it's definitely going to be an intriguing one. Can Torelli beat Finkelstein off the line? The 5-second board goes up. The green flags come up at the back. And the lights are out. Let's race at the Nürburgring. Good start from Gabriele Torelli. But a better start from Finkelstein. He's going to draw level. Torelli's going to have to shut that door pretty quickly, but watch out as well because Schimpf is going to have a good start as they come forward. Schimpf is going to pull ahead of Finkelstein and come around the outside to try and outfox on the brakes and on the throttle as well. So the Clios make their way through turn 1 at the hairpin without too much incident. So everybody has made it through turn 1 and through the second corner everybody goes as well. Already you can see a bit of a challenge creeping up as Schimpf has made a good initial start but then has gone backwards down the field. He's got the 101 of Peccar trying to get up the inside, and there's Gerardo trying to hold on around the far side of Peccar. But as they come towards us, Finkelstein has made a good start. Pouget has made a terrific one to move his way up into, I think, 3rd position. That might even be 2nd. As the drivers drop their way through the chicane on the opening lap. A fabulous start to proceedings as everybody is mixing it around, trying to move their way further forward again. But as the field drops down the hill, it's a bit of a tricky one for Super Mario. He holds on to it, but that was pretty close. 25 minutes plus the additional lap, of course, around the Nürburgring circuit, as trying to work his way forward on the inside line there. Finkelstein, how to look at it. Pouget has gone with them in 3rd, and then it is Schimpf, and then Gerardo, and then Peccar in 6th position. So Torelli, Finkelstein, and Pouget, then Schimpf, Gerardo. Milkovic has actually put a nose in front of Peccar, but then lost ground again. Nicolas Milan has moved up to 8th place. Not a great start for Jerzy Spinkovic, is off on the gravel, just in the path of his opponents for Mayo. That was very close indeed there for the 99 of Guillaume Mayo. He was very lucky not to get sideswiped as they came through on that lap. So Torelli leads the way. Everybody just chopping their way over the curbs, hoping not to kick up too much gravel. They just want to keep it nice and tidy on this lap and then start to battle away. But look at the top 3. Here comes Finkelstein, trying to get the lead on the opening lap. And there's a little bit of body rubbing between the 2 cars, and off goes Torelli. He chops back onto the circuit again in front of Finkelstein. But Alex Finkelstein clearly wanting to get on with this, as up the inside, Peccar is going to try and take on Schimpf into the hairpin, and Gerardo has already got past both of them. So Gerardo has now got himself up into 4th position. Peccar runs wide out of the final turn to try and hold off Schimpf. But as the field works their way through down to the 1st corner, Finkelstein has got designs on Torelli up in front. So Torelli may be leading, but Finkelstein wants to take the lead away from him. Now, if I'm Finkelstein, I'm going to try the long game here. Go slow in fast out of turn 1, then make the attack up to turn 2. The field knits its way through in the 1st hairpin. Everybody keeping it nice and tidy as they work through. A little bit of a tank slapper from one of the Castrol cars. But fortunately, they all still managed to point in the right direction. That was a very close call, I have to say. As the field continues to battle away. Jerzy Spinkovic is there in the top 10, but in danger of losing out to Stucki and Ricciarini as we watch the 158 of Venturi battling away with Jacopo Ximenes. So down the drop they go again. Now, interestingly, the battles will continue in fine style. There is an investigation already. Contact between Ricciarini and René is going to be investigated after the race. So as they work their way through into the end of the 1st sector, they drop down the hill, try and get a little bit of speed up. Just trying to stay out of harm's way. And Torelli and Finkelstein on a 106.0, 106.1, 106.2 for the 1st sector of the lap. Diving into the braking zone, trying to go around the outside of Guillaume Mayo. That was a brave attempt there from Sibel, but Brachetti is in the mix there as well. And there you can just about make out the blue car of Super Mario, Martin Kuhl, in the number 6. Side by side a little further up the road, we've got a nice duel cooking up here between the 55 of Steinmetz and Ziedus, who is there going wheel to wheel as well. But it's Torelli, Finkelstein, and Pouget. Then Gerardo, Peccar, Schimpf, Milkovic, Milan, Spinkovic, Stucki, Ricciarini, Bordageret, and René in front of Schimpf, Alonso, Venturi, Ximenes, Julia, Viguer, and Compin. So down to the braking zone, looks like Pouget is going to try and have his bid on Finkelstein into the chicane, but he's not close enough to throw it through up the inside line. A little bit further back, it looks like we've got a duel into the chicane. Thinking about it. A couple of drivers putting off the move if they can, and that is a nice overtake on the 82. Getting 2 on the deck and 2 in the air. That's Ximenes going about the overtake the hard way, but it's not finished up yet. He just has to hold the door firmly shut in the final turn. He manages to get the move done then on Venturi, but it was very brave, and he absolutely went 2 wheels in the air. So Torelli, Finkelstein, and Pouget. Then Gerardo, Schimpf, and Peccar. Rounding up the top 10, it is Milkovic, Spinkovic, and Milan. A big braking up the inside. This is going to go wrong for Pekar, and he knows it. He stays out of harm's way. He lets everybody go. He wants to recover without losing too many places. But Thomas Pekar, unfortunately, he braked far too late to cover off Schimpf. Overtook Gerardo, but then lost it immediately. And now we've got Milkovic side by side with Jerzy Spinkovic, and on the inside is going to come Nicolas Milan at the expense of Spinkovic, who then holds it to the inside line again for the next right-hander. And the unique car gets through. Oh, a little bit of a nudge there from Bordagere and Stucki trying to move forward on Nicolas Milan. And they're still trying. Nicolas Milan is trying to work his way on the inside of Jerzy Spinkovic. Spinkovic will resist. No, you don't. I don't care who you are. You might be Nicolas Milan, but as far as I'm concerned, you're just another racing driver. As Stucki tries again to get through and level on Nicolas Milan. Great racing again. And still the duel continues. But Jerzy Spinkovic has held off the attentions of Nicolas Milan for now. Milan is going to try and go late into the hairpin and draw level alongside the Polish driver. But Jerzy Spinkovic holds on again. Is that all you've got? Very nicely handled so far from Jerzy Spinkovic. He holds on with all the pressure of the field around him. He is not going to lose ground if he can help it. So very nicely handled. Whoops, that's not quite the racetrack. That's off the road, losing several places. That isn't either, I think you'll find. So a couple of drivers going skating off the road there onto the gravel. Certainly livens things up for us trying to follow the action. I think that was Steinmetz going off on that occasion. Now, here is the 29 of Finkelstein having to defend from Pouget, but Pouget's got him on the run. And surely Pouget doesn't have to try too hard here on Finkelstein. Indeed, he does not. He gets into second place. So nicely done there from the Clio. And just as we saw earlier on from the Lamborghini Super Trofeo race, they are using the shorter, tighter, slower chicane for the Clio Cup race. And I have to say, as Clio Cup races go, this has been one of the cleaner affairs so far. Definitely very exciting to see how it's played out. A proper race is what we wanted. We didn't want to see hundreds and hundreds of safety car periods, but we're not going to see that so far, especially when you consider that Finkelstein is going to try and fight his way back on the inside of Pouget. Pouget covering to defend. Here's Milkovic, still hanging on from Spinkovic and Milan as they run in behind Thomas Pekar. So still they duel away through the first hairpin. Back on the power again as Milkovic in 7th position, closing in on the Czech Thomas Pekar whenever he has an opportunity, but Jerzy Spinkovic is there in 8th position, closing in. Nicolas Milan has a good run as well in 9th, in front of Stucki. And then Bordagere, Ricciarini and René from Schimpf, Alonso and Ximenes. A little bit of a run wide there in the lower end of the top 10. There's another incident that's going to be investigated after the race. That is the move between the 35 of Compin and the 51 down the order now. So the 51 car, of course, belonging to Siebel. So the two drivers are going to be investigated after the race by the look of things. But meanwhile, it is still going full guns blazing for Gerardo, who's got Schimpf in behind him. So André and Schimpf having a very steady race of it at this moment in time. And the field continues on its way. There's still some good battles continuing on the march. And up at the hairpin, we got another couple of drivers there running deep, I thought we saw there. But certainly behind Nicolas Milan, Bordagere is closing in on Stucki. Ricciarini, René and Schimpf all have their designs on getting into the top 10 as well, and that is a retirement. We've got a car breaking down. I think that's the 65 pulling off of Julia. So very unfortunate indeed, but Julia coming to a retirement there on the exit of the hairpin. Clearly some kind of mechanical gremlin for the LR performance machine of Fabien Julia. So that has not gone well at all. Fortunately, that's right off the racing line though, so I have a feeling that's not going to trigger a safety car. So it should be perfectly neat and tidy to keep things going. Up to the hairpin once again. And all going full guns blazing for the race leader. Torelli has no issues, but Pouget, having got into second place as we know, now in front of Alex Finkelstein. These cars doing lap times in the 2:22s at the moment now as they complete the 4th lap. Torelli, Pouget, Finkelstein, Gerardo, Schimpf, Pekar. And here is that battle for 7th position behind Thomas Pekar as Milkovic tries to break the toe from Jerzy Spinkovic and Nicolas Milan. Here comes Spinkovic diving there on the inside. He will not concede defeat. Squeezes through. Milkovic tries to hold him back. They both drift wide. Spinkovic will get through. Milkovic will hold his own on the inside line there to keep Nicolas Milan at bay. Almost trades paint with Josip Spinkovic on the exit. Does trade paint with Nicolas Milan on the next turn. But Milan is already up the inside. That'll do. And he's nailed it into 8th position. Here comes the retaliation from Milkovic. But he can't get through. So Tirelli, Peugeot, Finkelstein, Girardo and Schimpf. Then Thomas Pekar, and coming towards us we have Spinkovic, Milan and Milkovic. Then it is Stuckey, white car, black bonnet. Stuckey trying to get through on the inside line there of Milkovic. Milkovic is holding his position there, just in behind Nicolas Milan in the green and white Castrol machine, number 5. So Andrea Stuckey in the number 9 car, that's the white and black machine. Further back, however, we've got Bordegeray and then Ricciarini, René and Schimpf. Schimpf is going wheel to wheel here with the 107 of Ricciarini. As they go off the turn, is there enough space for 2? Just. Ricciarini trying again to hold it through the next left. You're going to have to be brave. And he does. Tried to hold it round the outside and kicks up the gravel. That was never going to happen. Schimpf was always going to have the position there on the inside line. Meanwhile, a lock-up from Nicolas Milan to try and get through on Spinkovic. Another lock-up from Ricciarini, from René, I should say, there on the back of Bordegeray. And meanwhile, we have more great duels as the field continues to swap away. We've got Semenius, Venturi, Steenmetz and Vigier. This is Compin finding the limits of what the Clio can handle on that curb and kicking up some gravel in the process. The fastest man on track is actually the man in 2nd position now, that is Pouget. So Pouget has come into 2nd position, as we know, and he's 0.6 of a second away from Gabriele Tirelli. So if he can get close enough, then Tirelli's days in the lead of this race are numbered. So Finkelstein in 3rd, Girardo in 4th, then Schimpf, Pekar and Milkovic. We are watching the battle further down the field. So this is obviously an intriguing battle continuing here. Tirelli and Pouget dueling for the win. Still hoping for a very solid race battle between these two, and I think we're going to get it. Finkelstein in 3rd, 4th is Girardo, then Schimpf, Pekar, Spinkovic, Milan, Milkovic and Andrea Stuckey. So still they duel for position. Still they give us plenty of excitement. Up at the front end. Look at Pouget, really possessed. Through sector 2, he was actually a lot quicker than Tirelli on the last lap. Very different conditions to what they were in this morning, of course. It was damp, it was drizzly, it was cold. It's very much not that at the moment. A nice move there on the inside from Vigier to get through on the inside of Venturi. So Vigier manages to move up another place, and that puts him into 18th position in front of Venturi. So solid racecraft at the moment. We've had a couple of minor moments, but certainly nothing that would consider to be over the limit. There is Steenmetz trying to close up on Ximenes, as this is essentially the battle for 16th position downwards. Tirelli having a good run. Look how hard these two are pushing. 2 on the deck, 2 in the air. Tirelli and Pouget both working hard up at the front end of the field. So Tirelli and Pouget down to the chicane. And still they duel. I think Pouget's got an opportunity. Don't tell me he's going to go into the right-hander and try and make the move. That really would have been brave. But David Pouget sensing vulnerability from Tirelli. If he gets a good exit off the turn, which he has, he can start to threaten Italy versus France. And here comes David Pouget trying to make his bid. Tirelli is holding that car to the inside line and making it as wide as possible down to the braking zone, so Pouget has to resist the move. With the chicane they go again, and again every time they hit the curb. 2 on the deck, 2 in the air. Pouget all over the back of Tirelli, trying to take the lead. I think his best bet is going to be into turn 1. Again, if he nails the final turn, Tirelli drifts out wide on the curb. So down the straight they will continue to move. 2-minute 22 lap times is where we're currently at. So on a circuit as long as this one, it's going to be tricky for Tirelli to hold on here in front of Pouget. Pouget trying to have to try and go long. Down to the braking zone. Pouget's not going to get the switcheroo here. That's perfect from Gabriele Tirelli. He actually parks the car on the apex to ensure that David Pouget can't get the switch back. Manages to hold the line. Now Pouget's going to try and go left. Surely he can't dive from that far back. He definitely had to think about it, though. I think he's trying to keep Gabriele Tirelli guessing as they come off the turn. Tirelli's got a little bit of pace on the throttle. but he runs a little bit wide. This is where David Pouget can really start to threaten. Meanwhile, Jacek Spinkovic has just set the fastest third sector of anybody in the race as he tries to close up on Thomas Pekar. And in fact, he has managed to drop Nicolas Milan, who is still battling away with Milkovic and Stucki. And then in the background, you've got René in front of Bordageret, Schimpf, Ricciarini, Alonso, Jimenez, Steinmetz, Viguer, Venturi, and Guillaume Maillot. 9.5 minutes on the clock, plus the additional lap. So I would estimate we've only got 5 laps of racing left to run. There is Jacek Spinkovic, the number 125 unique racing machine from Poland, man who won the Clio Cup Series Middle East Championship. And here he is, still battling his corner in Europe, racing in France, in Italy, and in Spain. And here for the German visit to the championship, it is Spinkovic trying to get away from Milan, Milkovic, and Stucki. There is René, Bordageret, and Schimpf. And then in 14th, there is Ricciarini in the 107, the Momo colours, just in front of Alonso in 15th position. So Mariano Alonso in front of Jacopo Giuseppe Jimenez, and then we have René Steinmetz in front of Florian Venturi, Lionel Viguer, Fabien Julia, and Guillaume Maillot. So of course Fabien Julia having to retire from the race earlier on. But there is Torelli ahead of Pouget. Still they battle, still they rage. Still there is a duel for supremacy between the two, as there is Bordageret. Jeremy Bordageret, hoping that he is going to continue over the course of the rest of this season for the Milan Competition squad, joining halfway through the year as he has. They come off the final turn and onto the home straight again. Torelli, Pouget, Finkelstein, Girardo, Schimpf, Pekar, and Spinkovic ahead of Milan and Milkovic. And then Andreas Stucki in 10th position. Is this going to be the chance for Stucki? He's certainly lining it up. Does he want to commit up the inside there of Milkovic? He's definitely thinking about it. As he works his way forward. This isn't going to be easy to get the car turned in. He went very long into the turn and hoped that he was able to recorrect the steering as he came off the corner. But a very intriguing situation as the number 9 of Andreas Stucki all over the back of Milkovic. Nikola Milkovic still in this battle for the top 6. Meanwhile, David Pouget is going to have a second go at Gabriele Torelli on this lap if he can continue this sort of pace. Just the one retirement, as we know, of course, and that is Julia side by side. Further back, however, this is Seibel versus Gehin. So hopefully these two are going to be able to get through without incident, but certainly Sebastian Gehin and Henrik Seibel having a really solid duel. It's not just at the front where the overtaking battles are happening, it's in the rear as well. But there is the 2-1-1 of Nikola Milkovic, hoping that Andreas Stucki is not going to give him a hard time. Come off the turn again. Up the crest. And as the drivers in front of them, Pekar and Spinkovic, are trying to get well away from Nicolas Milan. Still, we have Milkovic and Stucki, and then it is Aurélien René in 11th position, just in behind them. Jeremy Bordageret in 12th position, side by side. Again, these two still mixing it, as Seibel and Gehin have been able to share the same bit of racetrack quite a lot over the course of the last few minutes. They're continuing to do so again. So as they come off the turn, this is where Gehin is going to have to stretch away now from Seibel. But Henrik Seibel wants to have another opportunity to come through, and they've got to be careful as well, because 1-1-2 of Dahl behind them is going to try and make his bid, and then Compin, Chaligne and Schunke are not far away either. One mistake in these cars and the loss of momentum is huge. Everybody else gets the opportunity, and that's exactly why you can't afford a mistake like that, Henrik. Seibel still going strong here in front of Gehin, Dahl and Compagne. But as we mentioned so many times before, there is a battle everywhere you look, and this is for the lead. Pouget's going to try and commit. There's contact. He gets up on the inside, and he makes the overtaking move happen. Torelli will not be happy, but up the inside goes Pouget. Torelli didn't give him any room at all. Pouget got intimidated and fed up of sitting behind him, so he made the gap open. So Pouget getting the move on Torelli. I'd love to see that another time, because Pouget was very forceful there with Gabriele Torelli. He was not prepared to come second best to him anymore. Was clearly frustrated, sat behind him. incident involving Tirelli and Pouget will be investigated after the race. So that could end up coming back to bite David Pouget at very big time indeed. And Alex Finkelstein is there in third position, hoping to try and get past both of them. So into the hairpin. Let's have a look and see how David Pouget made that move open up on Gabriele Tirelli. It was as forceful as you like. Into the first corner, Tirelli in the middle of the road, Pouget to his left, holds it round the far side. Tirelli opens the throttle but keeps the steering wheel wide. And look, he started the move off the road initially and then squeezes Pouget, but Pouget is determined. I'm not going to sit behind you anymore. Let's look at it again from this angle. Diving at the inside. Get out of the way. Oh, now that could be a very interesting conversation afterwards, because Tirelli is going to have a very different opinion to Pouget. He's going to say, this isn't stock car racing, you've got to pass me cleanly. Pouget's going to say, what are you talking about, mate? I did. Finkelstein, third position, right behind them, is just watching it and waiting. The big question is going to be, will Tirelli wait for this to be decided in the steward's office, or will he take matters into his own hands with the red mist? Because he doesn't really want to get into hot water. Two wrongs don't make a right. Pouget has got through by forceful means. If he has, let the stewards deal with it. Down the straight. Pouget trying to shake Tirelli off his scent. Finkelstein is just waiting for it all to unfold in front of him. 3 minutes 20 as they come across the line. So this is going to be 3 laps to go. Tirelli will commit long on the brakes. Now it's Pouget's turn to go ultra defensive. There'll be a cut-back manoeuvre. Tirelli can't quite get the undercut. Finkelstein is able to close up on both men. Tirelli getting fed up and frustrated. Come on, David, I can get you back. He's going to launch in turn 3. Oh, brilliant from Gabriele Tirelli. Pouget's still going to be there to the inside. They're both going to drift off the road. Finkelstein takes it from them both. Thank you, gentlemen. But Pouget is going to try and come back in on the inside of Finkelstein. No, you don't. Alexandra Finkelstein has snatched the lead away from both men. That was what I feared might happen. Tirelli desperate to get past Pouget. And unfortunately, as a result, the two of them have ended up rubbing door panel to door panel, drifting wide, and Finkelstein has taken the lead. Right, for the next 2.5 laps, this is going to be a proper ding-dong race battle. So, Finkelstein now your leader. Pouget second, Tirelli third. Finkelstein drops it a little bit wide off the curb. Watch for Pouget trying to retaliate, and watch in particular for Gabriele Tirelli. Now the car in third position. Let's have a look. Tirelli dives in from so far back. That was a beautiful move, actually. But Pouget wasn't having any of it. Dives back on the inside, they bang, doors, both drift off the road. Finkelstein says, merci beaucoup, I'm going to get through. And I think there might even have been a little bit of paint traded between Finkelstein and Pouget when the number 29 went past. However, Alexandra Finkelstein in the GPA car is loving it, and it's a GPA 1-2. But now watch for Gabriele Tirelli. He'll be fuming that he got manhandled off the road there at turn 3 and turn 4. Out into the chicane, Finkelstein trying to hold the lead, Tirelli trying to get them, they bang, nose to nose. This is very nearly Dodgems at the moment. Finkelstein in front of Pouget and Tirelli. They come off the turn and into the penultimate lap because there's time plus 1 more lap. Finkelstein in front of Pouget and Tirelli, and watch as Anthony Girardo and Adrian Schimpf appear on the scene now as well. This is now a 5-car battle for the victory, technically. Pouget's going to go long on Finkelstein on the brakes. Come on, mate, we're teammates, get out of the way. Oh, Tirelli's going to nudge him into the back of his teammate. Tirelli uses Pouget as a snooker ball. He ends up nearly going into the back of his teammate. That could have been messy. And now look, Pouget determined to keep Tirelli back. No, I'm staying in second. I'm going to get my teammate when the time is right. Don't you dare. And Anthony Girardo in 4th position is grinning from ear to ear as well. This is great. The 3 of you just bash each other. That's fine. I'll close up. I'll sneak by you all. But Alexander Finkelstein, now that he's in the lead, he's going to do everything he can to make sure he doesn't concede it. He locks up into turn 6. Careful. Don't lose it now. Not when you've got a victory staring you in the face. Down to the hairpin. Pouget's got a little bit of daylight between himself and Torelli. That gives him just that little bit of security. Will he dive to the inside of the hairpin? No, he doesn't. Torelli is there in third, Gerardo in fourth, Schimpf in fifth position. And the more these five hold each other up, the more likely it is that Pekar in sixth and Spinkovic in seventh will close up on them. This race victory battle is irresistible. One of the most exciting I've ever seen in the Clio Cup Series. Finkelstein, Pouget, Torelli, Gerardo and Schimpf, and further back, look, you've got Pekar, Spinkovic and Mr. Clio Cup himself, Nicolas Milan, in eighth position. And still, Finkelstein resists Pouget. Torelli, Gerardo and Schimpf are all over him. They come off the turn. This is getting spicy. Finkelstein, Pouget, Torelli, Gerardo, Schimpf. Pouget's got a good run on Finkelstein as they go up the hill. Up to the chicane. Now they're teammates. Whatever you do, don't hit each other. Because you do not want to be in that awning when that unveils itself. 2 on the deck, 2 in the air from 5 very motivated racing drivers. As they essentially wheelie their way through. So Finkelstein, Pouget, Torelli, Gerardo. And then Adrian Schimpf is there or thereabouts, but he's not quite close enough. Here we go, the time has run down to 0. It is time to start the final lap. Here we go, and this is going to be no holds barred. Gerardo making a bid on Torelli and going the far side. Can he get into third position? Meanwhile, Pouget's going to make the bid on Finkelstein. Side by side, 2 by 2, hurrah! Pouget on Finkelstein, Gerardo around the outside of Torelli. It's going to be an absolute barnstorm as Gerardo still committing to the move on Torelli. They bang doors. Gerardo gets through. Schimpf is going to try and make the move now on Torelli. Torelli is furious. All over the back, and now he's going to try and take on Gerardo and nerf him aside. Oh my word. Gerardo now trying to move cover, and he goes into the side of Schimpf. So Finkelstein leads still from Pouget. Torelli barges his way into third position. You can tell he's done it because his left side wing mirror is out of position, and Anthony Gerardo's right wing mirror is broken and hanging off. There you go. A little bit too much contact between Torelli and Gerardo. Meanwhile, Finkelstein desperately wants to win this race. So too does David Pouget. But how much will Finkelstein be prepared to defend from Pouget? And if they slow each other up, will Torelli get one more shot at this? Out of the hairpin, back on the power. Pouget with a better exit. Through to the left. On the power, hold it through the curbs, boys. Torelli holding off Gerardo and Schimpf. Down to the braking zone. Wait for it, don't lock up the brakes. Turning to the left. David Pouget is there or thereabouts. They've got a little bit of breathing space between themselves and Torelli, so I think Pouget will be confident to go for the move. It'll be at the chicane. He'll have to do it there, otherwise he'll have to go gung-ho in the final bend. But just because these two are teammates, that doesn't mean they won't race each other. Here comes Pouget. He can get big points here. He knows it. Finkelstein can get a win. He knows that. Down to the brakies over the chicane. Hold on, here comes Schimpf diving through on the inside of Torelli for third position further back. And he misses the chicane. So Torelli's going to get him around the far side. And I think that's going to be all she wrote. Finkelstein is going to be able to hold this in front of David Pouget. One of the best Clio Cup Series races ever. Fabulous race battling. And Finkelstein is going to take the checkered flag in front of David Pouget. Torelli will be third. Fourth will be Schimpf. Fifth will be Gerardo. And there'll be so many conversations after that race. But what a result for Alexandra Finkelstein. Excellent racing. When it all comes together, when it all goes right, when safety cars and bad driving standards do not intervene, you get a ding-dong race like that one. Alexandra Finkelstein holds off from David Pouget. Masterclass drive. Excellent stuff. Battles going all the way to the finish. All the way down to the tail end of the field as Schelin, Dahl and Schunke continue their fight all the way to the flag. And how about that? There was just one retirement from the race in the end, and that was Fabio Giulia. What a race. What a fabulous, fabulous bout. Merci beaucoup. Vielen Dank. Grazie mille. And gracias, mi amigos, to all of the Clio Cup Series drivers out there. That was worth every second of every lap. Alexandra Finkelstein in front of David Pouget and Gabriele Tirelli. That was so exciting. And Alexander Finkelstein takes the victory. How about the little exchange between Pouget and Tirelli? I wonder if they see eye to eye in second and third behind Finkelstein. He snatched the win from both of them. Well, that's fine. You two have your little boxing match. I'll steal the win from you both. Wonderful stuff from Alex Finkelstein. So Finkelstein having an excellent final lap there. I really want to see that first corner again because we saw a lot of battles. Here's Finkelstein defending from Pouget. Pouget got alongside. Finkelstein was determined round the outside. Look, they banged doors. And watch Gerardo. He's going to make his bid on Tirelli. There's barely any racetrack to play with. Bang! That was forceful from Gerardo. And so Tirelli said, right, that's how we're playing it. I'll nudge you once. I'll nudge you twice. Bang! Right, I do not want to be a fly on the wall in the steward's office. Let's put it that way. Oh, Gerardo actually trading paint with Schimpf as well. Ay, ay, ay. That was Clio Cup Series racing. Fast, frenetic, very fun. So a great result then for Alex Finkelstein. He steals the win away from David Pouget. Gabriele Tirelli in third position. Each individual class winners as well. Adrian Schimpf in front of Anthony Gerardo. Nicolas Milan doing a great job to fight his way back to sixth position in the closing stages from Pekar, Spinkovic, Stunchki and Milkovic. Great performances through the field. Bordegeray getting a class win as well. Spinkovic winning his class in front of Ricciarini. And all the way through the field you can see Milkovic coming through for third position in class in front of René and Alejandro Schimpf. But considering all the flotsam and jetsam and the crazy nature of the racing, 36 cars started, 35 made it to the flag. The only retirement was Julia with a mechanical problem. So excellent racing in the Clio Cup Series race. No safety cars, no yellow flags, just proper motorsport. That's what we like. And everybody is fired up for that one. And Alexander Finkelstein gives the GPA racing crew a fabulous, fabulous victory. He is going to be an incredibly happy chappy getting out of this car. There you go. Well done, Alex. Great racing. You'll be very happy with that. Despite the hard, no-nonsense nature of the racing. And look at that. Despite the fact that they banged doors and swapped paint and traded places, David Pouget and Alex Finkelstein, that's motorsport. Great racing. Somehow, I'm not quite sure Gabriele Tirelli is going to have quite the same exchange with David Pouget as Pouget has had with Finkelstein. But a GPA 1-2 makes the team very happy indeed. And a great way to start the weekend in the Clio Cup Series here at the Nürburgring. Great racing, that really was one of the best tin top battles I've seen for a long time. Everybody giving as good as they'd got. There's a gap, I'm going for it. There's a gap, I'm going for that one as well. That's what racing's all about, especially in the Clio Cup Series where you do not give an inch, because if you do, they'll take a mile. And for Finkelstein, Pouget and Tirelli, that was fun. Tirelli will be content with maximum points in the Italian Cup. However, he looks quite circumspect about that third position, doesn't he? That was an interesting battle for sure. Tirelli almost looks like he's dropped 20 euros and picked up 5. So we'll have to see how that all unfolds afterwards, but certainly in the awnings in the Clio Cup Series paddock after the race, there's going to be nothing but good banter, nothing but great conversation. That's what racing's about. They had fun out there, and they definitely invoked the spirit of the Clio Cup Series. Hard, no-nonsense racing, great battles to the flag, and a very worthy winner in Alexander Finkelstein. A sensational opening race of the Clio Cup Series 2023 here at the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. A good start initially from Tirelli, with Finkelstein pushing him all the way, trying to get the overtake into the first corner. Schimpf had a mega start, but it all unfolded by the time they went through the first sector. As first Pouget, Gerardo, and then Pekar made their moves on him. Finkelstein tried his best on Tirelli. There was a little bit of contact, and Tirelli ended up having to overshoot at the chicane. There were more dramas further round, But on the most part, everybody kept it relatively clean and tidy until Julia ended up off the road. That would later lead to a retirement. Then came the fight from David Pouget. He made the move on his teammate Alexander Finkelstein and set off after the Italian Gabriele Torelli. He made a very tricky move, at which point Torelli retaliated. Pouget resisted, they banged wheels, and Finkelstein got them both. That would be enough for Finkelstein to lead, but going into the final lap, Pouget tried his luck. At the same time, Torelli was having to defend from Gerardo. It worked out for the GPA twins, but not for Gerardo and Torelli. They banged doors and smashed each other's wing mirrors. Torelli wasn't happy and made first one and then a second point of contact on Gerardo to move back into third position. It would be a tricky final lap for Gerardo as he then found himself into the door of Adrian Schimpf. But after a brilliant fight and a fantastic bit of racecraft, Alexander Finkelstein was able to come through ahead of his teammate David Pouget, with Gabriele Torelli picking up the final place on the podium. Great racing at the Nürburgring in the Clio Cup Series for race 1. And there's even more to come from race 2 tomorrow. Sensational stuff then in the Clio Cup Series. They really gave us so much excitement. And when you're hoping for an exciting battle on the podium, well, you might get just as much banter and drama on the podium between these three as you might do from on the circuit itself, because Finkelstein, Pouget and Torelli might have to swap paint again tomorrow, the way things have currently gone today. Incident involving cars 12 and 1, that's Torelli and Gerardo on the final lap when they bashed each other's wing mirrors off, will be investigated after the race. And also 1 and 113, that's Gerardo and Schimpf banging doors. That will be investigated after the race as well. This result may be edited. But for Torelli and Pouget, they do shake hands at the end of a furious battle. But the man on the top of the podium, Alexander Finkelstein, a very happy victory for him and the GPA Racing team. And as La Marseillaise will play out, he can be very happy with the way he's managed that win. Ironically, all three of them are class winners in their individual campaigns. But in terms of the overall honour, it lies with Alex Finkelstein. I really hope it remains that way as well. That was a worthy battle as the clerk of the course, Frank Thaler, will present the Clio Cup Series trophies. First to Gabriele Torelli in third position, who looks content, maybe not satisfied. Second for David Pouget to beat his rival. He'll be again, content and satisfied, I think, with second place. But Alex Finkelstein, calm, mature, measured, but aggressive when needed to be, to defend valiantly, to keep his victory here in race 1 at the Nürburgring. Great racing and great excitement, and for the GPA Racing team, they take the team's trophy as well. A fabulous start to the weekend in the Clio Cup, and there will be more great racing to come from them in race 2 tomorrow, as there is definitely going to be more excitement and drama on the horizon. So for Finkelstein, Pouget and Torelli, they've definitely given us a grandstand show here at the Nürburgring. Fortunately for them and for us, they can do it all again tomorrow. We are very excited by how that race is going to play out. It's definitely going to be drama all the way. A sunny day and a bone-dry track on the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit for race 1 of the Clio Cup Series 2023 here. And it definitely delivered in spades. So, Alex Finkelstein will take the victory in fantastic style. Pouget in second, Torelli in third from Schimpf and Gerardo with Nicolas Milan in P6. Can we do it all again tomorrow, please? In the Clio Cup Series Race 2, we'll have plenty of excitement.